Mortgage interest rates increase due to the war in Iran. What is really going on? So, if you've been paying attention to what has happened since the end of February, President Donald Trump has started bombing the crap out of another Middle East country. Well, not shocking for most Americans, that seems to be our MO. But what is that doing to us, especially if you are a tentative home buyer in the year of 2026? Well, before this conflict happened, we were seeing rates inch down super, super low, the lowest we've seen in years. And that changed instantly. So what happened? What is going on? And what do you need to look out for as that veteran home buyer or just a home buyer in general in the United States of America? So let's back up a little bit. The end of February, we started launching massive strikes against the country of Iran. There was talk about them building a nuclear weapon, being close to XYZ. Almost seems like we've seen this before in, 2003, but hey, who am I, right? So what has happened? We started bombing them. There was a constraint in the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is where almost all the entire world's oil flows through. And guess who has control of that? Yep, Iran. So what happens when we start bombing them? Well, of course, they start shutting things off. They're not allowing the flow of oil. This isn't just impacting us, this is impacting the world. But let's talk about what it's been doing to the United States of America, and more so on the housing market, interest rates. There's a lot more too that has been impacted, but that's not my expertise and I don't want to overstep my lane here. But when we look at real estate, what has happened? Rates were almost the lowest levels we've seen in years. People were getting excited. People were getting back into buying a home. It was pushing the market in what we thought was going to be a great boom for home buyers. Lower interest rates, more affordability, getting people into homes that they couldn't afford just maybe a year ago or 18 months ago or 2 years ago, whatever the case may be. We've been in a high interest rate environment for over 3 years now. And before February 28th, we were seeing rates, depending on which loan program, in the low fives. And if you're like, well, that's still high compared to COVID, that is not, because the highest we've seen 2023 was almost 8%, depending on which loan program that you were looking at. So we're almost 3% lower in interest rate, just for some context here, okay? Rates were getting better, things were looking great, and that changed overnight. We saw interest rates trickle up almost 1 full percent, and trickle up's the wrong word, spike up almost 1 full percent. What does this do for a home buyer? It makes you lose easily $100,000 of purchase power, if not more, depending on your credit scenario, your profile, and things like that. So with this conflict, right, it goes back to oil. Again, like we've seen this before, it's kind of funny. But what happened is we've seen gas prices go up. We've seen the fear of inflation go up. And people are concerned about what this is going to do on the larger scale of the economy. The way that interest rates work, when we talk about mortgage loans, we follow the trend of inflation. When inflation goes up, interest rates go up. It's almost like they move in sync together. When inflation comes down, interest rates come down. So the big concern is, what is going to happen to inflation? Is this oil situation, the conflict in the Middle East, going to drive the cost of oil up? Going to make everything more expensive for you as the consumer? We're already seeing it at the pumps right now, right? Before this, we were seeing the lowest gas prices we've seen in a long time. Now we're seeing, some of the highest gas prices we've seen in a long time. It's madness. Now, the big news is that there's been multiple talks of peace deals. But the problem is, anytime we get close to one, it vanishes. And what does that do to interest rates? It pushes interest rates back up. Okay, anytime there's talk of a peace deal and it's actually close to the table and being signed, we see interest rates come down because we think we're going to get that relief that we desperately need. Unfortunately, that is not the case. We, as of today, are experiencing another basically peace deal being scrapped. There was attacks, this side attacked that side, then of course this side attacks this side, and it pushes everything into a scarcity mindset when we look at the market. Because again, if inflation goes up because there's this issue in the Strait of Hormuz getting oil out, it's going to make the cost of everything go up in America, including interest rates. It puts fear in the market, and the market does not like fear. It does not like uncertainty. And this is where we keep seeing changes in the market day to day. We've had great days where they're about to sign, it's going to be done, and then they scrap it off the table, and then we just see interest rates skyrocket again. We have a moving target. So what does this mean for home buyers in 2026? The rate you were given today most certainly may not be the rate you receive tomorrow. And this is extremely important. If you are pushing your budget, you're blade running where that little slight increase may knock you out of qualification or put you into a home that monthly payment will make you house poor. You really need to be cognizant, if you're a home buyer in 2026, of what is going on. And the most important thing that you need in your corner is an experienced loan officer who is paying attention to what is going on in the market and giving you play-by-play advice, okay? You can't have that 1-800 person who works 9 to 5, who's not paying attention to anything, who after you get to the end is gonna surprise you with an interest rate that's gonna screw up your ideal monthly payment, maybe even disqualify you from the loan. You do not want that, I promise you. What you want is an experienced loan professional who's paying attention to what's going on and advising you as these things are happening. It is changing so fast right now when we talk about real estate, mortgages, interest rates. This stuff is changing from day to day. I'm not kidding. So you need to have somebody who's going to pay attention to these things, because one bad day, you no longer approved for a home loan. And if someone's not paying attention to it, if they're that call center 1-800 number loan officer, I promise you they're not keeping you informed. They're not paying attention to what's going on, because that's not their role. That's not their job. Their job is to take your order and push you to the next step. You want somebody who's paying attention to these things, because again, it is changing so fast. So again, interest rates have gone up due to the war in Iran. The issue is around inflation and oil, and we're seeing it at the pump. We're seeing inflation go up. We just had the most recent CPI report confirming that since this has started, inflation has increased. And again, as inflation goes up, interest rates go up. They move in sync with one another. When inflation comes down, interest rates come down. So these are things that we are paying attention to from this side of the fence, right? We're seeing it. We're seeing interest rates change multiple times throughout the day. We're seeing good days, we're seeing bad days. And anytime we get close to that peace agreement, something happens and it pushes us in the wrong direction. The faster that we get past this, the faster we'll be able to give the American people relief. Unfortunately, that's nothing that I control. It's nothing that you control, unless maybe you're President Donald Trump watching this. Hey, let's get a break here. All right, we want to make things better for people, right? Shit's expensive. It's no joke. People are struggling. This does not help. When interest rates come down, home buyers benefit. When we keep pushing them up and up and up, it only does one thing. That pushes the American dream further and further away from the middle class people. And my goal is to help as many Americans achieve the goal of homeownership. And the reason why I'm so passionate about that, owning a home is the fastest way to build wealth in America. That is a proven, tried and true fact. And I want every American to succeed. I want them to be in a financially good position. And these things hopefully come to an end so we can continue to progress. We can make homeownership more affordable and help people achieve the American dream. Thank you.